Baltimore City. We've got Brooks in from Indiana. We're going to be going to the game tonight. This is Tuesday, July 30th, the day of the trade deadline. We're going to start off today's podcast with some Orioles reaction, some stuff that they've done at the trade deadline thus far, what we think is going to happen moving forward at the trade deadline. We're going to talk about some trades that other teams have made. Probably most likely, we're probably going to talk mostly about the teams in our division first. So Randy Arozarena getting moved, Jazz Chisholm getting moved. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the NFL. Tua Tagovailoa, Jordan Love got paid this week. And some new onside kick rule changes. We're going to do our normal segment, That's a Shame. And we're also going to do our snake draft today. Best sports nicknames of all time. And we're going to limit this to the 4 major sports. So no golf, so you can't use Tiger. No other sports other than, baseball, hockey, basketball, football. So to start, we haven't been on since Austin Hayes was moved for Sir Anthony Dominguez and Christian Pache from the Philadelphia Phillies. Do you guys have any specific thoughts on this trade right away? What are we thinking? Brian, I'll shoot to you first.
Sure. It gives Austin Hayes the opportunity to get some more playing time, it seems like.
Yeah.
It also, from what some reports are, that he was getting a little frustrated with his playing time in Baltimore, which completely makes sense. I'm happy for him, and we got something decent in return.
Brooks?
I agree. I was hearing some of the same stuff, and I think we actually brought this up at the beginning of the season. Brian actually brought this up more for the younger guys, though. If people were going to start getting frustrated because there was just a lack of spots and therefore going to be a lack of playing time, whereas on a lot of other teams, they probably would be getting a lot more playing time. And it just so happens that it kind of worked out this way for Hayes, just with a slow start, with an injury. I think he got sick in there as well. But honestly, he's been coming on as of late. We gave him a little bit of flack for his defense, for a little bit of a stretch there. But I mean, if we know Hayes, he's always going to figure that out. So I think I kind of understand why he's getting frustrated, because he probably feels like he's starting to get in a little bit of a rhythm and then just can't get into a rhythm. We're all baseball players. We kind of know that can be pretty frustrating no matter how close the clubhouse is. So, yeah, I'm happy for him. I think it's a good fit. Philly's always been kind of known to take some of these outfielders and flip them and make them.
When you think about it, as you're a former All-Star last year, or is it last year or 2 years ago? It doesn't matter. He was a former All-Star, and then all of a sudden you're not getting the playing time. It's got to be very frustrating. Secondarily, he's a West Coast guy. Him and his wife are West Coast people. I'm sure that has to be in the back of their mind at some point or another, going back out west.
Well, look, he went to Philly, so it's not like he went very far west.
Well, he didn't get a chance to pick Philly. We picked it for him.
I do want to talk about the return a little bit. You guys pretty much have said everything I wanted to say about Austin Hayes as well. Sir Anthony Dominguez is a guy who's pitched in high leverage situations in the playoffs before, has had so much experience in competitive games in the NL East in the last few years, and even in the playoffs, especially the last couple of years for Philly. So I think specifically getting him back is a big bonus to our bullpen. I think we had a little bit of a surplus in terms of position players, and I think we kind of just turned that into one of those bullpen arms that we might be able to rely on down the stretch. He's had struggles in the past. His first couple of outings with us this week have been pretty good. He did walk a couple guys, which, we don't love seeing relievers coming in and walking guys, but with the stuff that he has, how electric his arm is, I think that those walks, you just kind of have to kind of take them as they come every now and then. And then Christian Pache, I don't want to say he's like a throw-in in this trade, but he's just one of those guys that he was a super highly touted prospect. I actually texted this to our group, our baseball group, our buddies. I think he feels very similar to when we got Jorge Mateo. He was a super highly touted prospect, really good defensively, really good speed, just hasn't really quite figured it out with the bat at the major league level quite yet. And I think that could be a guy that we could lean on going forward in a defensive sub kind of, like a pinch runner kind of role moving forward. And then, obviously give him some spot starts in the outfield if we need that. And that's if Mateo can't come back. I don't know what the status with Mateo is exactly. But yeah, I like the trade for the Orioles just based on the talent we got back for, Austin Hayes, who is a great Oriole, but is just wasn't getting the playing time he was looking for.
And I don't want to start this statement with I think, because I know we won the name battle. Sir Anthony and Pache.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me with this?
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. That's a major part of these trades, right?
I mean,
I don't know if Ryan wants to jump on here and have any thoughts on this situation.
Oh, hey guys, welcome. How you guys liking the studio?
I'm
so
not
far?
sure you guys know this or not, but I think we've announced a couple times we're coming live from Brian Ripken Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This patented NBA Jam machine right here.
Yeah, welcome. Make yourself comfortable, guys. Glad you guys are enjoying it, but hey, it's great, right? I'm glad you guys are comfy, and it's going to be a hectic day. The moves, at least for that. You mentioned Christian Pache, probably one of the best defensive outfielders I have ever seen. I saw him in AAA when he played for Gwinnett, which is the AAA for the Atlanta Braves, and the dude covers ground. He honestly is one of the best center fielders in baseball, period. But the problem is his bat, right? It's not what people want, so he's an expendable piece because you feel like you got to have some offense. So on and so forth. For Hayes, though, it's interesting. Dave Dobronsky came out and said, the president of baseball operations for the Phillies, it's like, I've been trying to trade for Austin Hayes for a couple of years.
Since 2022.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, it shows you this is the most complete team that values a veteran player. And even though the name was being thrown out about Cedric Mullins and Ryan Mountcastle, which I believe teams would want, there's a reason why that the Phillies wanted Austin Hayes. And quite frankly, it was a good move for both teams. Let Hayes move on. I think it's a great move for Philly, but for the Orioles, you get a veteran pitcher that you're hoping can go back to his form from a few years ago. So that's all I got to say about that. Now back to Gary Williams stole my lawn furniture.
I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, have you seen 2 appearances right now from Dominguez? I think the last one that I saw, I literally tweeted out right away, like the stuff he's got closer stuff. Whether he's got the mindset to do it is a different. I mean, because closer's a different animal. But his stuff is just it's absolutely electric, and especially when he was the way he was it last night, 2 nights ago, I believe. And I was like, this guy, if he can pitch like this out of the pen, he's gonna be our closer in the playoffs, hopefully. Again, and I brought this up again. I don't know if we've had a podcast since Kimbrel had a couple blown saves. I said this a month and a half ago when Kimbrel was in the middle of his great stretch after everybody torched him, that we're going to see another stretch where Kimbrel's going to struggle a little bit. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. He's still one of the top, regardless of who you want to go get. He's still one of the top 5 closers in the league. So are you going to be able to go get one of those guys? And are you willing to give up the prospects or whoever they want to get that in return? Christ, what I've seen from Dominguez, if he can keep that up and we'll see what happens here. But I mean, his stuff plays.
Throw it out to the group here, and anyone chime in when they want. Do we want to go out and get somebody that's a closer when we know the Mountain's coming back next year? Now, he might not be the same person, but he's still our closer, and we talk about him and how we miss him so much this year in Bautista. So, I mean, I don't know if we want to go out and get somebody.
I think it's one of those things where it's a lack of availability for a lot of closers. I think at the last few deadlines, we've seen a lot of bigger names. Josh Hader has moved recently in the last few deadlines. And that's one of the bigger, and he's a local guy too. He went to Old Mill. I mean, grew up 10 minutes from where we grew up, me and Brooks in Pasadena.
Yeah, I played with Brady Feigl, I believe.
It's fantastic. Can he get out? I don't care if he went to Old Mill or if he grew up in,
here's the thing.
Walla Walla, Washington.
It's a lack of availability. Like you're not seeing the giant name closers they're just not going to be available, because if you have that valuable player, a team's not going to be willing to part with that unless they're, a team like the White Sox or a team that's struggling, like a really, really struggling team that needs a reset.
Well, let's bring it up. Like every Orioles fan wanted Mason Miller for a while, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about this. Like I think everybody was asking us to go get him at the beginning of July, but it's also a supply and demand issue. Like we need to see they know that he's the hottest ticket on the market right now. They're gonna blow it through the roof once other teams start saying like we're selling. Then we can get their price a little bit lower. Obviously broke his finger on a weird whatever happened there, whatever they want to call it. I know there's a couple different stories going around. So, but to be honest with you, it's worth noting that it's not on his pitching hand. He's not going to be out the rest of the year. Realistically, he should only be out for maybe a couple of weeks till it's tolerable for him to.
Yeah, I haven't really seen his name getting thrown around recently.
Well, after he broke his finger and went on the 15-day DL, everybody said like, "Oh, he's off the market." I'm like, "No, guys. Like, I realize it's hard to catch a ball when you have a broken finger, but like a couple weeks and you can start taping it to another finger. Like if you play baseball before, two in the pink is a whole thing. Like you can have a
nice reference there, dude.
I just watched Ryan's eyes get so wide open.
Ryan, we're a little bit more derogatory than your podcast, that's for sure.
You know what? It's funny. I got brought up that I got to get my locker room conversations out of there. I'm like, I don't say that many words. I mean, I have a lot of after dark stories I could share with you. I wanted to bring up the Mason Miller kind of talk, if you don't mind me mentioning something here.
Would love you to.
Thank you. So with Mason Miller, with what I've heard, is look, the A's, I don't know what direction what they want to do, because you're moving to Vegas, but Vegas might not want you. You're going to go to Sacramento. That's strange. You can't get called the Sacramento Athletics. You're just called the Athletics next year. What direction is your team going then on the field? And I think that's what they can't figure out. They have made it known around the league that they don't want to move Mason Miller unless it's a deal that just blows the doors down. So, and the other part, it is possible to trade guys on the IL, but it is rare. I think you have to get approval from Major League Baseball to say, hey, we're going to make this trade. But he can come back, and that would be the best pitcher to go out and get. But just like with Oakland, we can't figure out what's happening. Right now, it looks like unless they get a deal, they're hoping for a deal like what you get for Skubal. And I just don't think a lot of teams are looking to do that. But, man, could you imagine having a Mason Miller, a guy that just throws fuzz balls and makes it impossible to hit? But it's Oakland, and I feel for the fans.
And, to go off what you're saying there is, and we talked off camera before we started this, is – you want financial stability as a player because you have a limited lifespan in this game. And then as a major leaguer, you want security that your team is going to be a team. You don't even know what the hell you're doing in Sacramento or what's going on, where you're playing, how many seats are going to be in the stadium. Are you going to be worth anything? Does your owner even care?
I mean, I don't think that's good. I mean, the A's are going to be somewhere, right? Whether it's just a matter of where it's going to be. But I mean, Christ, if I'm Mason Miller, I'm begging for somebody to trade for me right now, to be honest with you.
He might walk to Baltimore right now.
But yeah, it kind of boggled my mind when everybody took him off the trade market after he broke his finger, and it's pinky finger, correct? Am I wrong?
It's the pinky.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Yeah, it's gonna be tough for a little bit, but I guarantee you in 2 weeks when the pain gets a little bit better.
But you pitchers are whiny. We've talked about this before. You guys are so regimented. You're whiny. You got everything. Garrett Cole wants to beat up Billy Crystal in the opening pitch of last year. Like, come on.
The point of the conversation, to get us back on track here, guys.
Thank you.
The point of the conversation here is, look,
what was the point?
We have one of the better closers in the league. He's on the IL for the year. We knew that coming into the year. People calling for Kimbrel's head is just like, look, guys, we knew what we were getting. We can't go out and spend all these resources to go get another closer. And then what do we do next year? We have two closers. we're the Orioles. We're not the Yankees. We're not the Dodgers. We're not the Red Sox. That's not the way we play ball. And maybe moving forward, that's going to be the way we play ball. Hopefully moving forward, we'll be able to get to that point. But as of right now, look, Kimbrel was the guy that we brought in to be a 1-year kind of stalwart for us. And for the most part, like Brooks said, he's been good. I mean, look, he's had bad stretches, but for like a good month and a half in the middle of the season before the All-Star break, he was one of the best closers in the league. He could have been an All-Star.
Should have been an All-Star.
So it's a crazy conversation to have if you're a Baltimore fan looking for a closer. And I think
and to Ryan's credit, he beat us down the last time that I was in here. We were all on together. He beat us down with all the statistics and all the splits. And I understand that, but we also talked off camera before about some certain players being in their own heads, and it seems like he might almost be in his own head, even coming from a person who has been around the league for so long, who's a Hall of Fame pitcher. Now we're not getting Hall of Fame caliber stuff at the moment, but right now he seems like he's in a mind spin.
Yeah, I mean we got Hall of Fame stuff there for 2 months, for sure. I mean he's not throwing 98, 99 anymore like he used to, but yeah, again. This is a Band-Aid. Somebody commented when I said this before, and somebody said, like, this is a shitty Band-Aid. I'm like, you guys were all about Craig Kimbrel over the last 2 months here, like singing his praises. And then he goes through a little rough patch. Two bad outings, really. He blew one, came in with a tie ball game and got the loss there. Yeah.
We need to flat. It seems one note, and as we all know as baseball guys, with movement, you're going to get a lot more swing and misses.
That's not his game, though. He's not a movement guy. That's why his curveball plays a bigger. That's why his curveball is such a big thing that he needs to make sure that he is throwing that. I know that was an issue because he wasn't throwing that as much there for a little while. He needs to make sure he has a good feel for it, has good location on it. But I mean, his whole thing is like, his arm angle and his release point, where it comes from and where the ball goes, that's his biggest asset because he doesn't have the movement, right? So he's almost coming from right here where this mic is, and it's elevating. It looks as if it's elevating up to here because he almost looks like he's throwing upwards. So that's why you get the swing and misses in the pop-ups. Mm-hmm. But he also needs to make sure he's dotting at the bottom of the zone where he's missing thigh high a lot right now. Over the last 2 or 3. But again, he's going to figure it out. It's a thing where like we're going to have a rough stretch. Hopefully this is the rough stretch. And then we get All-Star Craig Kimbrel for the rest of the playoffs. Hopefully. I mean, knock on wood.
I hope so. Right now he's belt high Bud Norris and it's not going well.
Hey, dude, there's no Bud Norris slander on Gary Williams stole my lawn furniture.
That man drank a lot of beer when we clinched the division.
Hey, you got to celebrate here, right? You got to celebrate the good times. It's hard. One thing I just want to say to Craig Kimbrel is you guys are right, talking about the fastball. It has to play, and he did a breakdown of them, essentially with Craig, how it works. And you're exactly right, Brooks. It's his ball is going to have what they call, like, it's got the hop, and it's going to rise a little bit on top of it. So if that's the case.
Does it actually rise? Probably not.
Probably not, but it's the appearance of it. So if you think a ball is going to be more at your stomach, maybe top of the strike zone, and you think it's a good pitch to hit, and it ends up being 4 or 5 inches higher, that's the perception. It's the same thing if he's trying to aim low and you think it's going to be a ball and ends up being at the knees, it's a good pitch. But if it starts at the knees, it's probably going to end up over the middle of the plate, and whammy, that's where he's getting hit. The other part I want to mention with Craig, I think because he doesn't throw as hard, he has to be more refined then on hitting those spots. And when he's on, doesn't get touched. When he's not, he can get lit up a little bit. And I think that's why he's walking more. He's trying to be so precise with the pitches that he's yanking more or he's missing out of the zone because you don't have, I'm going to blow it by you with 98. Hey, how you doing? But I think the Orioles, for me, it's not just a Craig Kimbrel situation. I love the talent. They're going to need him down the stretch. It's the Orioles need another high leverage bullpen guy to pitch in situations. You thought that'd be Cano. He will be in those situations, but you're not as comfortable with Cano than you were last year. And the guy that was the most comfortable that hides like, hey, man, I'm going to throw you out there all the time was Danny Coulombe, and you only throw 91, right? So because Danny knew how to pitch. The Orioles, to me, need another guy that can alleviate that pressure? Because right now they don't have another guy really, to me, outside of Craig, that you're saying ninth inning, we need someone in a tight game. Is it Craig, Cano, or somebody else? So
I bet you if we called Jesse Orozco right now, he probably just put the glove back on.
I mean, he pitched till he's 47, right? But yeah, like to Ryan's point, then everyone gets bent out of shape. I see a lot of people on Twitter go, all right, we know this is going to be a rough outing when Kimbrel walks the first guy. One of the top prospects that everybody wants right now, that Oriole land wants right now, is Tanner Scott. Tanner Scott is what, third highest walk rate in the league right now?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously still having a great year because he can walk that many people and get out of it.
Yeah.
But in one of these playoffs games, when he can't get out of it, how do you feel somebody coming behind him to put a stop to this when we reach that point?
Yeah, is that sustainable for a guy like Tanner Scott, who's got like something like a 1.5 ERA? I haven't looked it up recently, but he was around the All-Star break. He was hovering around a 1.5 ERA with, like Brooks said, one of the higher walk rates in the league. Contrary to him, we just traded for Zach Eflin, who pitched yesterday in the first game of our doubleheader. 2.8% walk rate coming into the game yesterday. And in the game yesterday, he struck out 7 guys and walked 0. Gave up 10 hits, but mostly weak contact. Got a little unlucky with Gunnar bobbling a ball at short that could have been a double play ball. Could have been, could have gotten out of the inning, and then the next pitch goes over the fence, of course, just like it always does. Mm-hmm. If you're a pitcher and if you've ever pitched, if your guy makes an error, the next pitch is the most critical because it seems like it goes over the fence or into the gap so often.
And there's no statistical proof to this. When I watched him pitch, he looks like an Oriole. Like he just feels like an Oriole.
Professional pitcher, man.
I don't know why, but he just and good looking man too. He's going to probably third round in the Hawkeye draft.
Yeah, we're gonna have to pull this Hawkeye draft out here soon.
Third round.
Brian's been all
that's
about it
pretty
recently.
detrimental to him.
James McCann's
going.
Speaking of Hawkeye draft, let's get into the James McCann thing.
We'll go into more detail about Zach Eflin tomorrow when we do our trade deadline recap. We talked a lot about Sir Anthony, and I'm sorry,
we're bringing him on.
Oh, okay.
We got a special guest coming on.
We got a special guest coming on. Sorry to interrupt the podcast here, but
we have a special guest, and we also have his jersey hanging here because the whole reason I'm in town and we're all together today is because this guy was supposed to be in studio today. So I don't think we can actually get it on because we can't move cameras around, but we're going to bring him into the studio here.
You guys ready? Want me to do it? Should we do it?
Fire away.
Let's do it.
There he is.
Yes.
Timmy.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I hate that shirt.
This is the uniform now,
You look as bald as ever, man.
this is freshly shaved.
Yeah, they're doing a number. Darian's is Tim's wife for anybody listening. Darian's gonna be pissed about this new look, I'm sure.
She actually approves. This is Darian.
Oh my
approves.
God!
Oh really?
Darian approved.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just in case you guys don't know who Tim Meza is, former Blue Jays reliever, now pitching in the Yankees organization. He's in Scranton, I believe, right now, or playing for the Scranton AAA affiliate for the Yankees. We're going to welcome him to the show for a couple minutes here while he's, I don't know if he's preparing for his game or
he's in between meetings right now.
Yeah,
they got a game tonight at 6:30.
Timmy, we're just talking a little bit about the trade deadline and the Orioles and stuff right now. But we'll shoot to you. How's life in AAA? How's Scranton been so far?
It's been great. Yeah. I know you Oriole fans probably don't like hearing it, but the organization's been awesome. The coaches have been awesome. They've bbeen great and super welcoming, and just from a development side with some of the resources we have here, and the ability to kind of get me back on track and back in the right direction. From a pitching standpoint, it's been awesome. Scranton, location's nice. It's 2 hours from my house, so my wife and kids have no problem coming to games, and with the minor league schedule now, it's wild. It's it's not what it used to be in terms of like grind wise. I mean, minor league baseball is still a grind, but you're home for 6 days and you play the same team for 6 days and you have every Monday off. And it's kind of nice when you could be somewhere for so long and get a chance to settle in and be somewhere for that week and then have the day off every week to kind of reset. It almost kind of feels like a normal job, where you get your 1 day weekend, and but instead of Sundays we get Mondays off.
Tim, real quick, when we talked last, you had just went down to Tampa, I believe, and you said they were working. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. They were working to get you back. Is we working on the velo? Or are you back in the 6s? You back in the 5s? Like where are we here?
Yeah. So, entering this year, I would say my average was always kind of that 93 range. Would average out throughout the year, and but yeah, this year it's kind of been down a couple ticks. I think my average was 91. But prior to being DFA'd, and kind of was seeing some trend. I was kind of trending up in a way, velo wise. But I've had 3 outings here. The first outing gave up a couple runs, some hits, but felt like the stuff was crisp. It just wasn't, just getting some of the locations down and sequencing down. But the first outing was up to 96, and the past 2, I've pretty much been 2 to 4. The other 2 times out with a couple clean ones to finish off the week. So no, it's been good, and still getting my work in and working on some mechanical things and working on some sequencing and kind of trying to bring it all together. But I feel like I'm in a really good spot, and definitely had a couple outings to build off of. So feeling good, and I guess we'll see what comes this week.
Good deal.
All right, buddy. How much more time you got? You got to run. I know you're in between meetings right now.
Yeah, I got like 5 minutes.
All right.
So,
I don't know if Ryan wants that. If Ryan Ripken wants
Let's
to
get
ask a
Ryan.
question
Get
or
Ryan in here
anything.
for one.
Yeah.
Tim, what's up?
What's up, Brian?
How we
What's going
doing?
on, man?
It's good to see you. Not, I
Yeah.
wish I was seeing you here, but it's okay.
Yeah, I know.
Are we able to get that on there or no?
What?
Can we catch?
Oh,
that?
just
Dustin,
just
hold it up.
grab it, grab it, and
hold
bring
it
it
up,
over.
Hold on.
We got you in studio.
Here, I'll just throw it over.
Got you.
Oh, there you
We
go.
got you in
look at that.
studio at heart.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Fucking
Yeah.
Peter Boulware's number 58. I
Yeah,
like that.
Peter Boulware reference.
Yeah, how about that? You know what? We're trying to get Tim, with your permission and blessing, gonna actually get some jerseys. So we might need to hang you in the banner here at the studio. We're
There you
working
go,
on
yeah.
that.
We're not accepting any Yankees jerseys.
Actually,
though.
Yeah,
Tim,
yeah.
when you get called up, send us the pants. We just want the pants.
Oh, sugar.
Yeah, we just want the pinstripes.
There you go.
God. Well, yeah, it seemed like you're in good spirits, and I know the grind's hard of it. And actually, one of my good friends, Mike Bauman, who was at the Orioles, he's gone from Seattle to the Giants and got DFA'd again recently. Just even for anyone that's listening out there about this, of that experience, because I think people think that baseball is always glamorous, right? That you are excited. Now you've developed your career, you've been in the big leagues, and I was telling them, I'm glad. I think you're with the right organization to get you back on track, because the Yankees pitching staff and their development's just fantastic in my opinion. But can you walk through at least like that process of the waiting game? Because that is something essentially you are waiting for the right opportunity. And in this case, it was New York.
Yeah. So, had a rough stretch there early in the season. Kind of had a bit of a roller coaster ride results wise for the first 2.5 months, and led to being designated. And during that time, I'm not 100% sure the whole process when it comes to it. I know there's different types of waivers you could go on. And I think they have a certain amount of time to put you through waivers, and then teams have the opportunity to claim you and put you on the roster. And then after that, it's kind of waiting to see if they can make a trade happen. But all in all, it took about 7 days for that whole thing to go through, and you're just at home kind of working out, staying sharp. And And then after those 7 days, then, once I was released and technically became a free agent, teams were able to contact, kind of my agent and myself. And we're just, at that point trying to see where the best fit is and kind of where I need to go to get back on track. And obviously, you're in this situation for a reason. You weren't pitching well. If I was pitching well, I'd still be in Toronto. But the fact of the matter is, I wasn't pitching well. So it's a little different to where I really wanted to weigh where's the best place for me to develop and continue to get back on track. And the goal is not just to get back, but I want to be back and better than I was before. So just felt like when things came together that the Yankees was a solid choice, and just playing against them and seeing the development of some of the guys that they've been able to take, especially kind of sinker ball guys, and what they've been able to develop in them. I felt like at the time, and it was a good fit to get me back and to see some velo jump and see kind of the action on the sinker and kind of develop the sinker slider combo. But all in all, that took about 10 days. So you're out 10 days, and then was able to go to Tampa and kind of be in their lab and do some biomechanic stuff with mechanics and the delivery. And after a week, shipped up here to Scranton, made 3 appearances last week. But all said and done, it was roughly a month from the last time I pitched to a game to the first time that I made an appearance in Scranton. So, and you got to hit the ground running, and you're just, while you see the stuff come along and you see the velo creep up and the sinker slider pairing start working well, you also need some results to match it. So when you're out there, it's more competitive than it is like working on, my balance point or my hip hike or like the timing of everything. Like I do that, early in the when I'm doing my throwing program, and I, usually take 10 off the mound every other day to stay sharp. But once the game happens, it's about getting hitters out and about, getting some consistent results to match, the stuff that I'm seeing.
It's the process. I think that's the part I appreciate, the process. About 30 days, a month for you to get back into game action. And again, you want to see you want to see it pay off, the results. Essentially, it's good to work on something, but I'll tell you what, if you're not getting guys out, you don't feel good about it. You know what I mean? So, but hey, Tim, I will root for you on the Yankees. Orioles can win the game, right? We're all in agreement on that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Orioles win the game, but Tim, you can go out there and shove. That's cool with me. You got the stamp of approval from everybody in this room. Maybe
there we go.
I don't know. I've always been known to give Tim a pretty hard time, even as a freshman. So I give him a lot of tough love, but yeah, I'll always root for Tim.
I got one real quick question for you. You got to run. And this is for Ryan and you. These, when you come up as a person that was in the major leagues and you go to the minors, do you get a lot of questions from the minor league guys about, what's it like in the show? How are things different? Obviously, we know it's, more money and yada, yada, but do you get a lot of questions from the younger guys?
I feel like AAA is just different because you get a lot of guys who have at least been up there, whether it's, a day or whether it's, we have Chase and Shreve here who has 7 years. So there's definitely a variety of experience levels here. I think I get more questions about, Toronto and the organization in the city more than I do, just what's it like in the major leagues. Guys want to know how it is in Toronto because, for some guys here, it's their favorite stopping spot. It's a favorite spot that they visit on the road. So they just want to know from a perspective of a guy who I think has been there for so long. I think that was one of the toughest things with this transition was just, you spent 11 years in Toronto with one organization and, all of a sudden you're packing up and you're moving to a different organization. You talk about the trade deadline coming. I think those guys are going to have to make an adjustment too, especially on, some of the contenders that make deals. Is like, yeah, you're going from a place where you might not be contending to all of a sudden you touch down on a contender and it's game on right from the get-go. So being somewhere for so long and making a transition, but I hear a lot more questions about the organization in the city than I do just the major leagues. And I'm kind of doing the same thing here. I know I'm a new guy to the organization, so I'm trying to get a feel for, okay, what do these guys usually do? What's the process like? From being in the Yankees organization, and outside of that, I think the most important thing is guys just take it day by day. We're trying to get back up there. Everybody here is trying to get up there, so you take your process, and each day is an opportunity to grow and to get better. And me especially, I'm trying to get back on track and trying to get back up there and contribute.
Awesome.
All right. Cool. I really love the Bull Durham answers. You're doing really good.
Yeah, you're.
They really teach you really.
This is
They really
great.
taught you really well and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna let you go. I know. I'm just giving you shit.
Timmy,
I'm always gonna give you shit.
Timmy, we
Yeah.
love you. Congratulations, man, and good luck.
Thanks.
Hopefully,
All right.
get back to the bigs here soon.
Tim,
Yeah.
appreciate
All right,
you very
appreciate
much,
it, guys.
man. For your
See you soon,
time.
buddy.
All
I really think
guys.
the one thing that we need to talk about is maybe Coach P needs to come back there and give you some pointers.
Yeah. Just simplify it for me.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
All right, later.
See you, Tim.
Want to give a quick shout out to my buddy Grant Simino, who's now watching the podcast today. He's in town. We're going to see him a little bit later at the Oriole game. So, Grant, thank you.
Hell yeah.
It's a phenomenal hat, by the way. I got to tell you guys, it's really showing it off. Hey, look more at the camera here, Brian. Go stare
I'm
at.
sorry. Oh,
No,
man.
I mean, tilt down. There it is. Perfect. There it is. Hey, you got to show off the merch, man. I'm telling you, that's what I'm trying to build here with the Ryan Ripken show stuff. But it's great.
We got an executive producer for our podcast.
Oh,
It's been
man.
great.
Yeah, how's that feel? How's it feel having someone?
We're big time. We're big time
Feels
today.
big time, dude.
This is the first.
Big time
Again,
studio,
again,
big time.
if anybody actually watches this podcast, this is the first time we've been together in a studio
Yeah,
since we started this a couple months ago.
yeah.
So
First time we've ever been in studio together. Brooks living in Indiana. I live in Ocean City, so it's tough for us all to get together. But
where
well,
were we
we'll continue.
after Tim rudely interrupted?
Yeah, what an.
We'll continue on to the podcast. I'll just go to the
Yankees.
next note, and we'll talk about the games yesterday. How about that? The thing I want to talk about first, and this isn't specific to the games yesterday, but it does have to deal with it a little bit. Do we have concerns about Gunnar Henderson at shortstop, or do we just think that this is kind of a blip in the radar? It feels like, for me, I'll answer the question real quick, and then I'll shoot to you guys. It feels like to me he's getting to the ball. He's still being aggressive in the field. He's just having a little bit of a tough time, just making very routine fundamental plays, and I think it's just pretty. I think it's a very frustrating thing for him, and I think he's getting overly frustrated with himself and pressing a little too much. Personally, what do you guys think about this, Brooks? I'll shoot to you first, as Brian is elsewhere.
I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff like, is his arm okay? Like, does he have the yips and all this different stuff? Like, I was talking to Ryan, but I think he's exhausted. I think he's not only physically, I think he's mentally exhausted as well. Part of the reason why like Gunnar is so good at what he does is because he's just so smart at what he does. He can kind of almost he can be in the right spots when he needs to be in it. And Ryan was talking about this with us before, how his dad was maybe not always like the most physically gifted shortstop in the league, but he was always in the right spot. Like he was he was the smartest shortstop in the league when he was out there. Half the battle is just putting yourself in the right position and making sure you're doing just small things like that correctly. It just makes your life so much easier, and it makes you look like a unbelievable baseball player when you're in the right position and you're actually the right footwork, making sure there's just so many little things that I can go into that go into the position between short and second, and the different spots that you can be in that people who don't play baseball don't understand as much. There's a lot that goes into it. So just mentally thinking through like the different angles and spots that you need to be in can really make your life a whole lot easier. And I just think he's tired. So I think the second game yesterday, giving him the day off. Everybody was all up in arms about Westy making a couple errors. I could give a shit less at this point. Just give the man a day off. Mateo would usually be there.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they're not going to play tonight. Probably. If he got the night off tonight, I would love to see him get the night off.
It's not happening.
I would love to see him get the night off. I would also hate it because this is the first time I get to see Gunnar in person. Since obviously I live in Indiana, so. But yeah, it's. I just think he's exhausted. To be honest with you, I just think he needs a mental break because I mean, he went right into the All-Star game, the Derby, all that comes with that. Luckily, he got to stay there and play Texas afterwards, so he got a day there without travel. They're fucking one day off here and there at the beginning of July after that June stretch were travel days to the West Coast and back from the West Coast. So, I mean, his body's got to be going through it right now.
Yeah, I mean, the ringer there is kind of like the other term that people use. And you were mentioning words of like the intricacies, Brooks, of playing shortstop. And, the reason why people were doubting when you talked about with my dad or when I made those references is because being a bigger player, you can cover more ground, but you might not be as agile, right? That's when you knock bigger players. But what we're saying with my dad, and I love him, he was a great athlete, no doubt about it. But what separated him was knowing what he wanted to do before the play happened and putting himself in a position each and every time. You see with Gunnar, he can make the spectacular plays at his stature. Ball in the hole, feels like it's impossible. He dives, lays out, makes a missile throw to first.
And maybe some of those plays aren't spectacular plays if he's putting himself in better positions.
Right. And part of it's that. And the other part is when it is the routine play, the cadence of it is the shuffle that I'm having to make an easy throw, the timing of the runner running down. It's the other awareness. All right, is this guy humming down the line? It's the internal clock. How much time do I have? If I'm turning a double play, do I want to have my foot on this part of the bag or the other? Or where am I going with it if the ball's in this situation? There's always those little things. And for Gunnar then, or for any player, this is not a Gunnar thing. This is any player. Because the Orioles defense has been unfortunately. And it's just the honest. They have great defensive players, but it's been subpar for what they're capable of doing. Part of that is fatigue. But the biggest thing you see besides physical fatigue is the mental fatigue. And that's for a position at shortstop where you are the captain of the defense out there. You have to be more on than anybody else. And for Gunnar, it's plays that he can make routinely. It's just the little cadences of getting it. And sometimes you just need to wash it away. I think about having tequila. That's how I would kind of reset. But whatever Gunnar's going to need to do, because they're going to need him. And he's the right guy to play shortstop for the Baltimore Orioles. There's zero doubt in my mind. But you can see with all of you guys. I mean, Brian, we talked about it before. We know what it's like to get inside of your own head, or when you're exhausted and you feel like you're fighting yourself, you still got to go play another team, and it's another battle if you have that internal feeling.
Man, Ryan brought up the shuffle, and I went right back to Ripken camps again.
I
went right back to Ripken camps with
Sorry
Billy,
about that.
with Billy. with Billy.
Your granddad yelling at me in the corner at Emmitsburg in the cage. But to Ryan's point, Gunnar is absolutely the perfect person for the Orioles. His passion and his frustration can be combative with himself from time to time. And we talk about the shuffle. Like Ryan said, he makes those crazy athletic plays where he doesn't have to think. It's when he gets that ball and he has to then throw with his feet, and we always talk about that as a coach. Throw with your feet, shuffle, bang, and you go. And he's in his head right now.
And something stupid like the other night when the game came down to that double play and whether that takeout slide and all the new rules. And I don't even understand the intricacies of that really at this point. It seems like a very opinion-based call right there.
I have a question here, and this is for the group. Do we think, and I'm not blaming Connor, I'm not blaming Norby whatsoever, but is there that feel between the middle infielders that could affect something?
No, well, there could, yes. But I mean, some of that's like what Ryan was saying, some of the footwork around second base was not the greatest. And you saw Drew, for those listening, most of the people who listen are friends of ours and know our friend Drew. One of the first things Drew pointed out was some of the footwork around second base was not ideal for what was going on there. And maybe the throw took him to where he needed to be. I don't know. I didn't look that closely into it. So, but yeah,
we got breaking news. The Orioles have acquired Trevor Rogers from the Miami Marlins. But Trevor Rogers is a left-handed pitcher. He was an all-star last year, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Rosenthal had it first. This is 3 seconds ago from John Hammond.
Apparently, too, and after we do this, I'm gonna have to go live here on my own stuff now. Goodness gracious! Apparently, Connor Norby is possibly in this deal.
Whoa!
Possibly.
There's some stuff happening on Gary Williams Stole My Lawn Furniture today. Yeah, wow, that's pretty crazy, and he's under control at least through next year. I can't tell past that.
All right, welcome to the big leagues, either Mayo or Holiday, whichever way you want to go.
Let's see.
And here it goes. It is Connor Norby and one other player to be named headed to Miami in the trade via Jeff Passan.
There it is, confirmed.
So here, Jeff Passan tweets it. It is confirmed as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, Trevor Rogers. Look at that. This is a guy I would say is 100% has potential to be a 2 or 3, like a top 2 or 3 in the rotation kind of guy. Definitely is going to slot in as a lower in the rotation guy if we aren't able to secure Corbin Burns throughout or past this year. So good for us for getting Trevor Rogers. Got a lot of good stuff. Like I said, I can't remember if he was an all-star last year or the year before. He's super young. I think he's 26 years old. Left-handed starter, throws gas, has multiple pitches. So yeah, I'm in. Look, even if this ends up being a lower back end of the rotation kind of starter for us, I think that is kind of what we're looking at right now. And Connor Norby being in the deal is, it's not something we love seeing the guys that are homegrown go. But also it's in a position where we have a lot of surplus right now. So it does make sense to me.
This kind of confirms what Brooks brought up a week or two ago. Did we bring up Norby to showcase him for a move that just occurred? And it basically verifies Brooks's comment that time or question.
Yeah. So we're gonna what we're gonna do, guys, for those who are listening live right now, we are gonna go
Mike closer to you.
Sorry, push that away. For those of you guys who are listening live right now, we are gonna go live. We're gonna switch over to Ryan. We're actually gonna switch over to, I believe, Ryan. Are we going to your channel? Or are we going to Zach and?
I don't know. I'm trying. Well, it'll be on my channel, but you guys,
Okay.
I mean, you guys want to finish up what you're doing. I just got to figure out what the heck's going on right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because again,
So you guys listening, we only got probably a couple minutes left, and we're going to switch over to Ryan, over to Ryan's channel, which is the Ryan Ripken Show on YouTube.
Yes.
So just go ahead and first of all, give them a follow, please.
Yeah, YouTube,
please.
Twitter, Instagram.
Give them a subscribe.
Any kind of social media or any kind of thing you follow. I'm sure he's got an account, and you're going to be able to follow him on it.
so you guys, for right now, you guys are breaking the first Orioles trade before the deadline here, right in the studio.
Hey,
Right,
dude,
live
we're-
from the
we're just
Ryan
doing
Ripken
our best,
Studios.
man.
Really-
That's all we're doing.
What we should say is the Ryan Ripken Studio is breaking. this
Yeah.
news.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're hosting.
Collectively,
They're hosting
yes.
us, and luckily we're here while this
Goodness
goes
gracious.
through right now. Right now, his
This is
his
going to be.
numbers for the year. He's 2-9 with a 4.53
Oh.
ERA.
Oh, no.
what
We'll
do
break
got?
one more. Apparently, Kyle Stowers might be in that deal as well.
Wow. Norby and Stowers.
Potentially.
That's a
What is
haul.
going on? Well, no, I know what's going on. But
That's a
Nope.
haul.
Norby
Oh,
and
goodness.
Stowers. Wow.
apparently,
Okay.
that's a
Yeah.
rumor. Jeff Passan hasn't tweeted it though.
Jeff
So until he
Passan,
has,
yeah,
until he tweets it, we don't
Until
know.
the jet plane has it.
Look,
Yeah.
wow.
Is there a blue check mark on these darn things?
Yeah.
All
Goodness gracious.
It
So if you
doesn't
guys,
matter. Brooks bought his blue
You
check.
can pay for anything.
Yeah.
right now, if you hear this buzzing going off, it's my damn chat right now
Yeah.
going like, "Hey Ryan, alert! What's
Going
happening
nuts.
right now?"
What is happening right
All right,
Um,
boys, we're gonna wrap up here. We're gonna join in hopefully on Ryan's podcast because we got today's going to be wild in general.
Yeah.
The trade deadline's at 6:00, so we are graciously being hosted by Ryan. So we are definitely going to throw over to his channel for priority here, but we will be back either at some point when there's a down period or possibly tomorrow because we got a couple other things to talk about. So other than that, catch us over there here in a few minutes. And see you guys. See you guys on the next one, and we'll have some other content coming here from the Ryan Ripken Studios that'll be coming over the next couple weeks that we'll be filming.
Thank everybody that watched.
Appreciate you
Ryan.
guys.
You guys are awesome, and it's great to be in studio with you guys.
We'll have to do it a lot more, and when it's chaotic, or maybe when it's chaotic, it's kind of fun that way.
It is
right?
kind of fun, though.
This is a lot more fun. We're taking grenades here.
Yeah, and right now it's a good clip when you guys were like, "Oh," with it. Clip that. It'll be great. All right, guys.
Yeah, John Heyman has tweeted it's Connor Norby and Kyle Stowers in the deal.
Oh, okay. Goodness.
Damn you, John.
Wow.
Good dudes.
All right, thanks for listening to Gary Williams on My Lawn Furniture. We're going to kick over to Ryan's show here in a couple minutes, or maybe right now. We'll see.
Tune over there.
But tune over there, and if you want to see us, that's where we'll be. Thank you.
See you guys.